जगजननी सुखपानि कल्याणी जगजननी सुखपानि कल्याणी जगजननी 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 सुखस्वरूपिणी मधुरवाणी सोक्कनधर्मनो मगिळु मीनाक्षी जगजननी सुखपानि कल्याणी जगजननी 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 पाण्ड्यकुमारी भवानी अम्बा शिव पंचमी परमेश्वरी वेंडुम वरम तर इन्नुम मनम वल्लयो वेद वेदांत नाद स्वरूपिणी जगजननी सुखपानि कल्याणी जगजननी जगजननी जगजननी
We are here this evening to commemorate the Dr. Ravindra Bhat Memorial Oration. May I request the Chairman of Plastic Surgery Department, Professor Dr. Aj Sabapati, to speak about one of the legends who lived in this great institution, Dr. Ravindra Bhat.
Our respected parents, the Ravindra Bhat orator of this evening, Shri Mahatria, Mrs. Chitra Bhat, Kirtana Bhat, and ladies and gentlemen. We are here this evening to honor the memory of a great individual, and if I should say, we are here to celebrate a life well lived. That is the life of Dr. Ravindra Bhat. He died young, but then he really achieved quite a lot, and that's what all of us feel about him. But suppose if somebody asks us, I think, why do you remember him? There have been a lot of anesthesiologists, but then what really distinguishes Bhat from other people? The first thing I would say is that tremendous sense of responsibility. He really took ownership of everything. And when we started our institute, when we started our life, when we have an anesthesiologist, somebody will say, sir, your patient is sick. But then when Bhat came, it was our patient is sick. It only makes a little difference. It's only a dropping of one letter, that Y to our. I think that to make that letter drop, that one word Y, I think it requires a lot of courage and a lot of shedding of egos and a tremendous sense of ownership of the problem. You may do it on one occasion, but then to the last end, I think each day, every day, I think to do that. I think no matter what, whose patient it is, who you have given anesthesia, if somebody is sick, he is sick. He is our patient. I think to that we bow. Second thing was that total commitment. See, we are working in an institution where we deal with major trauma day in and day out. We deal that, and I always used to feel it's so difficult to give a quality of care if somebody arrives on a Wednesday morning or a Sunday evening. But then if an institution could do that, I think the same amount of care could be given, because the needs of the patient is the same. That means it's a good institution. I think Dr. Ravindra Bhat was one person who made it possible for us by his total commitment to the work that you're doing. In so doing, what he really did was he really pushed the boundaries. It's not that working for one day, I think fantastically working and then dropping off. It's just push. I think pushing the boundaries, small steps, patient after patient, day after day, night after night. I think they really pushed. I think that's what Ravindra Bhat really did. By doing that, I think he really set a trend. I think how trauma should be taken. I think which is recognized all over the world as a model. I think what we should do. And then when he passed away, I thought we should record his memory, and then we wrote in a book. I thought that should not go away because memories need to be cherished, and then the good things have to be taken up. But I don't think I need to really write this because a few months ago, in the early part of this year, Dr. London is the past president of the American Association of Plastic Surgeons. He came and spent about 3 days with us. If somebody spends 3 days with you, that means he has an opportunity to see what's happening all the time. And then he left, and then after a few months, one of his books was published. He published a book, which is called as a Wide Awake Hand Surgery, in which he told so much about local anesthesia and hand surgery. And he sent a copy of the book. Normally we receive so many copies of the book, we always say with best wishes and all that we write. But then when he sent this book, the first page contained this. He said, "Dear Dr. Sabapathy and members of the anesthesiology team of Ganga Hospital, it's my great pleasure to donate this book to your group in the name and spirit of Dr. Bhat." And at the end, he says, "I hope at least one in your group will be able to do just that to honor and the memory of Dr. Ravindra Bhat." He said, "We should do something new and big." And then Dr. Lon Danaday has not seen Dr. Bhat, has never heard Dr. Bhat, and he has never read anything about Bhat because he never read any scientific publication of Bhat because Bhat wrote scarcely a little. But then he spent 3 days, and then going back, I think if he should send a book which states to honor a memory and then send his book, and he feels that he has to send it, and he says that his speech that we thought, that means he truly lives what he has done. So Bhat has left a giant of footprints in the growth of our institution. I think we honor him. And as we enter our theatre every day, I think we see this picture. And beneath it, we have written, "You will ever remain an inspiration to all of us." And surely he will. Thank you all so much, ladies and gentlemen, for honoring us with your presence this evening. Thank you.
It's indeed a great privilege and honor to have with us here Shri Mahatria, whose vibrations and thoughts can influence us eternally. The book that we have given to you as a compliment for this conference is The Thoughts of Mahatria, the unposted letter. Each page will give you the lessons of life that we need the most. We are going to have a life-changing experience this evening. And Shri Mahatria has given to this world infinitism. I have great pleasure in introducing infinitism now.
Seldom in life comes a soul who lives for others. Expanding, evolving, transforming human consciousness far beyond perceived limitations. A true believer in the power of human potential. He is transforming lives regardless of age, social strata, and geographical boundaries. A pathbreaker, endowed with a deep connectivity to existence and enormous spiritual strength, teaching millions to embrace abundance. Abundance in health, abundance in wealth, abundance in love, abundance in success, abundance in spiritual connect. His unique method of blending spiritual seeking with materialistic ambition is changing the way spirituality is experienced, bringing about a dawn of human consciousness through the science of spirituality. The one whose silence speaks and in whose presence silence is. Words do not describe everything, and words cannot describe everyone. It has to be experienced.
To offer felicitations to Shri Mahatria, may I request our Chairman, Managing Director, all the directors, Dr. Rajshekhar Rajsabhapati, Nirmala Rajsabhapati and Rama Rajshekharan Madam to come over to the stage, please. I request Dr. Chitra and Kirti, please come forward to the stage, please. I request Head of the Department of Anesthesia, Dr. Shekhar and Dr. Venkateshwaran to join us.
Happy evening. I think a lot of us mistake sincerity for seriousness. Thinking we have to be sincere, we become very, very serious. I really believe so many issues in the world will be solved if we can build a happier world. And with so many people healing the pain of the world, congregating in one hall, I am very happy. That's why I wished you happy evening. If you are also happy to be here, then just reciprocate happy evening. Otherwise, I will not know whether the speakers are working or not. That's why. Happy evening. So except last speakers, other speakers are working. Okay. I always tell people that for every one person who is celebrated in the foreground, we never know how many people are there in the background who is making that one person look right and good. When you take a football game, and if the match ended 3-2, only 5 names will figure in the scorecard. The one who scored those 3 goals and those who scored the remaining 2 goals. And this score sheet of 3-2 with 5 names there, this is assuming no one individual scored multiple goals, does not tell you the entire story. Because the goalie would have actually saved 4 goals. And if the goalie did not save 4 goals, the scoreline could have been not 3-2 but 6-3. And the goalie's name will not figure anywhere. Somebody would have tackled the ball the entire close to 100 meters and finally passed it. And one fellow's toe would have touched it and it would have gone inside the goalpost. The name of the person whose toe touched the ball will figure. The one who led the entire game, his name will never figure. We celebrate one Mahatma Gandhi for leading us to Indian independence. And there were millions of people who enabled Mahatma Gandhi to be a Mahatma Gandhi. Otherwise, Mahatma Gandhi could not have been a Mahatma Gandhi. In fact, in some of the Tamil movies, all the other group dancers have to dance badly to make the hero look good. If they really dance well, then the hero won't look good. In that sense, I think the job that all of you do, I'm narrowing it down to anesthetist. Sometimes on the surface of it can appear a very thankless job. Because if you ask me right now, Mahatria, when your mother had a dual complication of cerebral hemorrhage, which led to a heart attack, who saved her? I think I can spontaneously tell you the name of one neurosurgeon and one cardiologist. I do not know of anybody else. But I know in the heart of my heart, there were a lot of you in the background, up to the point that medical hero called surgeon arrived. And much after the hero left, there were a lot of you, but for which I would not have been enjoying my mother, which I continue to enjoy for over 6 years right now. So I think it will only be fair for me to start this program by telling all of you, on behalf of millions of people like me, I want to take this opportunity to tell you, we may not have had a chance to know who you are. We may not have had a chance to directly walk up to you and tell you thank you so much. But our heart beats in gratitude for all of you. We go back and thank the professors who taught us in the medical school. We go back and thank the guides who helped us to get the PhDs. It's very rare that we go back to our primary school and thank the LKG, UKG, first standard, second standard, third standard teachers who actually prepared us for these professors. But for them, we will never be who we are. And many of us, chances are, do not even remember their faces or names. But that doesn't mean you're not grateful to them. So on behalf of everybody, I want you to accept, see me as one representation of the rest, a very, very humble thank you for the beautiful work you're doing, and continue to keep doing this beautiful work. Because if everybody starts desiring, I should be in the forefront, the world will come to a halt. If nobody wants to be a goalie, Nothing can happen in the world. So we need people where the satisfaction and the fulfillment of what they do is infinitely greater than the recognition they derive out of it. As simple as the audio engineer sitting here. If they don't do their job, I don't sound right. If they don't get that entire mixing right, if they do not get these feedback speakers to me, I don't sound right. And if I don't sound right, I don't care how I speak. It still doesn't make a difference. And finally, I will get applauded. Remember that, okay? Finally, I'll get applauded. I'll remind you again at the end. Finally, I will get applauded for the speech. But I would have never sounded the way I sounded if somewhere in that corner he was sitting and doing his job right. This would not have happened. Normally, I thank the nurses in all the hospitals. To me, they are the angels of God. The empathy, and they're the angels of God. So I normally never miss an opportunity to thank the nurses in every hospital. In fact, once when the head of Apollo said, "Can you come and do a program for all our nurses?" I told the head of Apollo, "No, your nurses are already doing a fabulous job. We'll do program for doctors." Due respect, Sakam. But today, I want to thank for creating this opportunity where I could thank you all. I also want to thank the parents sitting here for giving this world a very beautiful family. I think the world knows the doctors, the hospital, the institution, the legacy that we have built. Whatever little interaction that I've had with the members of this family, the rootedness that I find in values has been again a very humbling experience. So, Appa and Amma, I just want to say thank you for gifting this world a very beautiful family. I personally want to thank Dr. Bala for making this evening happen. I always tell Gopal, who is with me, you are relentless in introducing good to the world. You are relentless. Every time I've interacted with you, there is one thing that you always wanted to do. Whether it was a good book, whether it was a good speaker, whether it was a good institution, whether it was a good man. In fact, the email you wrote to me about Dr. Bhat, I was already in respect for him even before I came here. So in seeing the two of them, I actually felt I stood with people. And this is something you do relentlessly. Introducing good to the world is, in my mind, who Dr. Bala is. And just for that, I told Gopal, I don't care what's the next program. If Dr. Bala ever asks me for another program, next time I'm going to say yes. Independent of what the program is, I'm going to say yes. And only then going to ask him what's the program. And that's why I'm here today. Before I actually go into the talk, which I haven't decided yet what to speak, there are so many alternatives simultaneously running in my head. But I'm a very firm believer that some of the ground rules with which the world is operating has to change if we have to have a better world. For example, I'm a very big proponent of every good human being has the moral responsibility to be rich. Financial surplus in the hands of a bad human being will destroy the existing world. A few more $1 million in the hands of a few terrorists in the world They will bomb a few more places. They will do mass shooting because they have money to buy weapons of destruction. Financial surplus in the hands of a good human being will build a better world. Good educational institutions will come, hospitals will come. Meritorious people can be helped in their education. A lot of good will happen in the world. Unfortunately, good people become so easily contented in life, that we think it's a crime to be ambitious. And somehow the spiritual fallacy that has been put into our head, spirituality and materialistic aspirations cannot go in hand. I don't know who put this entire thing in, because in no scripture in the world there is ever any mention that spiritual rootedness cannot coexist with materialistic aspirations. Even in a Bible, when people quote, in Bible there is that a camel can go through an eye of a needle, but a rich man will not enter the kingdom of God. Any message that you take without the preface and the epilogue, you will only misunderstand. Anything that is read without the context will derail the entire meaning of what was meant. Jesus Christ was saying, this thought process of money-mindedness, where hook or crook, whatever may be the compromise on your moral principles, but end of the day I have to be rich. Doesn't matter how many people are destroyed in the entire process. At a time when kings used to exploit all the citizens of a nation for their individual prosperity, and to put that into context, when you exploit millions of people for one individual person to become rich, such people of money-mindedness cannot enter the kingdom of God is the context. But people take that out of context, like in the Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna advises Arjuna, you have the right to the work and not to the fruit of the action. Simply put, Krishna was telling Arjuna, do not make a god of yourself. You're not a god, you're a mortal. With the best of the work that we do, sometimes we can never explain. Somebody who looks almost hopeless jumps back into life and inspires us. And somebody with very marginal injuries, some internal bleeding, and collapses. A lot of things that happens in life, the consequences of which man by his own choices cannot control it. And to advise this to Arjuna, Krishna says, you have the right to the work, that's a choice you execute. The fruit of the action is the consequence which the divine providence, existence, God, by whatever name you call it, chooses to return this back to you. So Arjuna, you focus on what you can control. And do not waste, do not dissipate your entire energy in focusing on something that you cannot control. Man cannot play God. You do the best and leave the rest. And in order to propagate this was told. But somehow there's one message in this country has populated himself. No, you should not have desires. Krishna himself gave Bhagavad Gita because he had a desire that Arjuna should fight. Then where is the question of Bhagavad Gita saying you should not have desires? But misconstructed messages. And the fact is, there is no spiritual institution, there is no spiritually aligned city, there is no spiritually aligned person in the world who has ever been poor. Is Vatican poor? Is Mecca poor? Is Tirupati poor? Is Sabarimala poor? Is Vaishnavi Devi poor? Is Pallitana poor? Is Ramakrishna Mission poor? Is Swami Dayananda Saraswati's ashram poor? Is Chinmaya Mission poor? Is Osho Commune poor? No spiritual institution in the world has ever been poor. In fact, if you have to collect data to validate this, if you have to research, then you will come to this conclusion. If you are spiritually aligned, you will actually